Board, step. Ready, face. Adjust. Adjust. Detail. Hold. Ready, face. Forward, march. Ready, face. Present, arc. Order, arc. Ready, face. Column of files from the left, march.
Folks, please feel free to take a seat at this time. There's 2 more benches available if anyone else would like to take a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riverside National Cemetery. On behalf of our director and staff, we want to extend our sincerest condolences. It is an honor that you have selected our location as your loved ones find a resting place. Today's service will consist of military honors provided by the United States Marine Corps. They will be providing the firing of the rifle volley, the sunning of tabs, and concluding with the folding and presentation of our flag. The rifle volley can be a bit loud, so please protect your hearing. During the sunning of tabs, any current or former service members present today may render one final hand salute. Everyone else can participate by placing your right hands over your hearts. At the conclusion of tabs, please take your seats. Now we do ask at this time if you can please silence any noise producing devices, such as cell phones. But feel free to take as many pictures or video as you like. Now at this time, if you're able to, please rise for the rendering of military honors.
Detail, upset, hook. Magazine of blank ammunition. Go. Ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire. Present, arc.
accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your most honorable and faithful service.
Whenever we render honors for one of our own, a United States Marine, we read a poem in their honor. The author and date are unknown, the words are timeless. Till the last landings are made and we stand unafraid on a shore which no mortal has seen. Till the last bugle call lays taps for us all. Semper Fidelis, Marine.
That was beautiful. I'm so glad we could honor him with this military service. My favorite kind of funeral is when people can share things about their loved ones. And that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to Beth and I are going to share some things about our loved ones. My name is Linda Roberts. I've been pleased to be called Chuck's stepdaughter for 13 years. When my mother told me she was going to marry him, I was more than a little concerned. They hadn't known each other very long, and I was afraid that maybe she'd be hurt. But I should have trusted her more, because she had gotten to know him very well. She found out he was a faithful Christian man who really loved her. He never had children, so he was pleased to have an instant family. He loved my 3 daughters. He loved my husband, Jim. He loved talking to him about his bird watching hobby. He thought that was fun. He loved our 9 grandchildren. Every time I talked to him, He told me he was praying for them, all of them, and he asked how they were all doing. One of my favorite memories was on my mother's 90th birthday. We had all the grandchildren here in California to celebrate. We went to a restaurant, we sat around a great big table and had a party. It was fun, and he really enjoyed that. It was his family. The first thing he did when he married my mother was he took her to Hawaii. She'd never been there. My brother was living in Hawaii, and she had never visited him there. So it had a chance to visit her son and his wife and son, and they got to see the sights, and they had a wonderful honeymoon. It was really beautiful. Beth and I were looking at pictures yesterday, and we saw how happy they looked. They both were just really happy. Through the years, he did so many things for her. They compromised on many things, and they had a very good marriage. During the last few years, when her health started to fail, he did everything he could to keep her healthy. He found medications, he found supplements, he helped her stay pretty healthy. She did pretty well for those last years. But the main thing he did was to be sure that she was happy. Every time I saw her, she had a smile on her face. I know she was happy. I will forever be grateful to Chuck for taking care of her so well during those last years. Many of you know him as a good man, but he was more than that. He was a committed Christian who lived his life that way. There were so many people he helped because he wanted to help them. He cared about them. I know that Chuck and my mother are in heaven, and that someday I'll see them again. That makes me very happy. Now I'm pleased to introduce Beth, who is Chuck's great niece, and she came here all the way from Ohio.
Thank you for joining us here today to remember my Uncle Charles. My name's Beth. I'm Charles's great niece. Charles never had children, so his sister Lucille, her children were his kids. And my mom is Carol, which is his niece. I think Charles was one of a kind. He was the epitome of a true gentleman. He would tell it as he would see it. He was no nonsense, and he was very frugal. He loved both Marilyn and Evelyn with great compassion, and ultimately became their primary caregivers. Uncle Charles and Aunt Marilyn lived out west basically my entire life. When I was a young teenager, I began writing letters to them and sending them pictures. In the year 2000, I spent 3 weeks out here in California with them. And I was here with Charles when Aunt Marilyn passed away. I was able to visit several more times and rode with him as he traveled back to Ohio for a visit with the rest of the family. But whenever I was with him, I mostly wanted to sit and listen to him tell stories about his life. He would talk about driving fast, never having an accident or getting caught. He would talk about his time in the Marines and when he met Marilyn at the Pentagon. He would also talk about my mom as a little girl, watching him shave. He worked as a machinist making jet aircraft engines. He worked 7 days a week, and he was very good at his job. When they wanted the job done right, the first time, they would bring it to him. He eventually retired, and they would have him come back to do a job that no one else could. He always lived his life to the best of his ability. When he met Evelyn and they started courting, he was so giddy. I can't think of another word to describe him. He was just smitten. In 2007, he and I were getting ready to leave for Ohio, and he wanted to go say goodbye to her. When he returned, he could hardly wait to tell me something. He said that Evelyn had mentioned that she hadn't kissed a man for a very long time. And I said, well, did you kiss her? And he said, well, I had to oblige her. He even cut his trip to Ohio short because he missed her so much and wanted to return to California to see her. He was so nervous on their wedding day that when he backed his car out of the garage, he hit our rental car in the driveway. It's the first accident he'd ever had. He loved Evelyn with all of his heart, and he said losing her was one of the hardest things he'd ever been through. Charles and I would talk on the phone somewhat often. He would always ask about everyone in the family and remind me that he prays for each one of us each night. He would ask if we were going to church and said we should all be going to church. He said the time in this world is getting short and we all need to be prepared. We need to read our Bible and we need to read the book of Daniel. He never gave a specific reason for the book of Daniel, but he spoke of it often, and one day I will read the book of Daniel. When we would talk about current events or politics, or anything, honestly, he would say, now listen to your Uncle Charles, because you know, I'm usually right. And he proved it time and time again. I'm gonna miss my Uncle Charles. I loved him dearly, and he was a special man, and there will never be another. On his 90th birthday, he told me he would save me a seat in heaven, and when he passed, he was ready. I listened to my Uncle Charles, because he was usually right. I will read the book of Daniel, I will go to church. I will save a little money from each paycheck, even if it's just $5, because it will add up. I will continue to pray for everyone in the family like he did. And I'll see him again someday. But until then, I'll miss my Uncle Charles.
In this pouch are 3 spent casings from the rifle volley that was fired in another loved one. Ladies and gentlemen, this now concludes our service here today at Riverside National Cemetery. If you would like to visit your loved one, we invite you to return after 4 o'clock just today. Any day afterwards, you are more than welcome to come back at any time you like. Our cemetery gates are always open from sunup to sundown. When you come to visit, if you're not sure of his location, you can stop at the front office. There's a kiosk. Type in his last name only, and you'll be able to obtain a map with his location that way. It's been an honor serving your family today. Please drive safe. At this time, we will be taking your loved one to be laid to rest. And like I said, after 4 o'clock, your set will be ready. And we invite you to come back if you wish.